Old Gold Club. Powered by Wolverhampton Building Supplies. With Mikey Burrows and Chris Iwelumo.
Welcome along, I'm Mikey Burrows. Alongside me, former Wolves striker Chris Iwelumo. And this is the Old Gold Club, a brand new offering from Wolves Media. It's a radio show / podcast that's been filmed so you can watch on Wolves' Facebook page. Every week we'll be speaking to a former player, coach or manager about their experiences at this great club. So Looms, tell us about guest number one.
Well, our guest, an absolute monster of a man, absolute gentleman, made 207 appearances over 15 years with the club, joined as a boy, worked his way through the academy, one of the success stories, part of 2 promotions, which was outstanding. Again, saw 2 relegations, which we'll delve into a little bit more depth. Played under the likes of managers Mick McCarthy, Kenny Jackett, Solbakken, Dean Saunders, many more. 9 caps for his country. As I say, it's the guest number one for the Old Gold Club. It could only be one person. The Wolves number one, Carl Ikeme. How are you, big man? How you find the retirement?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of sort of getting back to sort of normal life. So I'm kind of getting a bit bored now. So I feel like I need to do something. So yeah, thanks for having me. You've given me something to do today.
Well, one part of retirement is that you now have to come and do things like this.
Yeah, I have to spend more time with you. Great.
I mean, how have you found it though? On like a serious note, because things have been tough for you in the last year, 18 months. Do you feel now like you are coming through the outside of it?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, it's kind of a bit 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But I'm starting to feel like I want to do something now, where before I didn't feel like I was ready. So I'm still taking like steps, but it's good to kind of feel that I want to do something. And for you to invite me here, it's something for me to do, and I think maybe to come and do a game with you as well. So it's just good to have things to do now, because I do feel like I need to start getting busy and get occupied with things. Yeah. Because
you've not fully decided yet what you want to do. I mean, how long did it take you to decide?
Yeah, again, 6 months to a year after I retired, and that was something that I was prepared for. I knew that the body was packing in, and even now it's still emotional for me to come and watch matches and talk about matches. So I think it's something that in yourself, you know that you want to throw yourself in, but you got to think very hard and careful what that is as well, because it was forced upon you.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel because it was forced. It was. I wasn't really. I knew it was coming, obviously soon because I was obviously 31, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. But because of the circumstances as well, I kind of didn't know. I don't know a time frame to when I actually want to do something. But sort of coming back here today again, kind of had a bit of a funny feeling in my stomach just walking past the stadium, thinking,
Do you still get that then? Because you thought really long and hard about coming back. The first game that you came back for, where you kind of came out on the pitch and took the applause from the crowd, I spoke to you a lot in a couple of days before that, and you really unsure whether you wanted to come to the game.
Yeah, it was. I knew the first game would be the hardest one to do. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously after everything happened and the emotions of just coming back and being retired, and even though I've been on that pitch so many times, it was just, I knew it was going to be different, and I think that's why I've just kind of steadily sort of come back. I came for a little bit before the Southampton game, and then I'm just sort of slowly making my way to come back to just enjoy the game a little bit more now. Do you know what I mean? So I think I had the initial sort of meeting everyone and seeing everyone again, which was great because I'd not seen someone for so long. But now I kind of just want to come as a normal person and enjoy the game.
See, on your downtime, I know, like for myself, I'd go away and you'd watch football, game after game, whatever's going on. Was that what did you do with your downtime? Is when you switched off when you were training,
when I was
playing
playing,
hard?
yeah.
What was your downtime? Has that changed, or have you had to kind of distance yourself from that?
My downtime when I was playing, I just ended up watching it anyway. I wouldn't think to watch it, but I'd be watching most games just because you watch the championship games because you look at who you're playing against and you're interested in it, obviously. And then you obviously always watch Match of the Day, so or the Super Sundays and that. So I was kind of still involved in it. You know what it's like, Looms, when you're playing, you kind of never away from the game, even if you downtime, that in your downtime you're still thinking about training the next day. So the game coming up, so you actually never switch off. A lot of people sort of say, oh well, you only train a few hours a day, blah, blah, blah. It's not that. Yeah, the rest of your day is consumed in what you're doing tomorrow, because you're sort of thinking, oh, I need to go and rest because I've got training tomorrow.
What to eat, how you feel your
body. What I'm going to eat and what I'm going to eat tonight, because I need to feel good for tomorrow because my legs are sore from training. So you never actually get only supposed to downtime. I wouldn't even say Saturday night's a downtime really, because you're just that high and emotional after the game. It's just like a bit of a calm down. Your head's going a million miles an hour. You've probably got loads of caffeine in you, because I used to take loads of caffeine, so I just try and stay a bit sharper. And it's like a bit of a mad emotional thing. And I suppose Sunday you might have a little bit of downtime. It depends how you played the game before.
You're back in training on the Monday, you're already thinking about that.
Well, is there a part that you've not got anyone to tell you what to do anymore? All parts of your life, you're like, you've got to be here by this point. This is the clothes you wear. This is the foods you eat.
Yeah, I did like structure, but now I don't mind not having it at the same time. It's nice, kind of not having to go somewhere at a certain time, or not having to do pretty much anything at the minute, which is nice. But I did like structure when I was playing. I liked to know what I was doing throughout the week.
Take us right back then to when that all began, when you first joined the football club. What was the place like for a start?
A lot different, yeah. The stadium was pretty much the same, obviously, apart from the new stand. Was it the same? Basically, where the change rooms area was, there was a gym there, and I think Dave Jones might have had an office down there as well, because I got a rollicking once for taking a cup of tea in the gym. He pulled me in. I was only 16, and he gave me an earful. I think he said, "Oh, you're getting the brunt of my bad day." So it was slightly different. We got changed here, and then we used to get a bus. Keith Downing was my first manager here, and he used to drive us to Compton, to train.
Like, you had to wait 2005 to get your debut against Chester in the League Cup. So what, were you prepared for it, or were you just chomping at the bit? As I say, when I made my debut, it was, I was ready to go. Well, I thought I was ready to go.
Yeah. Was I ready for it? You just kind of have to be ready for it, don't you? I remember not eating for the whole day. I don't think I knew the night before that I was playing, but I remember not eating before the game because I just.
You never got told that you would never got the heads up that you were.
I can't remember, but I just remember. Even I might have got told, but I was okay that night because he's sort of playing. Yeah, cool, yeah. And then the day comes and you really find out what you're about. So I remember we was having pre-match at the Mount, and I remember just not eating nothing and just being really nervous about what was coming. But I think we won 5-0 maybe or something like that. So I didn't really have that much to do, but everything kind of went smooth, and it just gives you that belief that I can play. I know it was against Chester and was expected to win, but I was still playing. I think Lescott was playing that day and a few of the other older pros, so it just lets you see that I can do it and I can play with these guys.
Because you'd been on the bench quite a bit, haven't you? You were even in the bench in that first Premier League season.
Yeah, I think Matt Murray was injured, and then was on the bench for like Man United, Liverpool, and I can't remember a few other teams, a few big games. So I was kind of involved with the first team, but I wasn't ready to play. I was nowhere near ready to play. But it was good for me to be around the first team at such a young age, because even though it was tough, it probably helped me in the later years.
Because one of the things I'm fascinated about with you, and I guess similarly for you, Looms, as well, is kind of the competition for places. Because for you, I guess it's easier. There's more opportunity, whereas for you, the list of some of the goalkeepers that you kind of had to wait and get past.
Yeah, it was difficult because even as soon as I came in the academy, it was difficult, because there was a goalkeeper the same age as me at the time called, I think he's Dean Coleman, and he was good, and it was touch and go for me whether I was going to get a scholarship, and then kind of got the scholarship, and then there were still good keepers in the academy, and then Wayne came as well, who was a year younger than me, he was very good as well, and then kind of had Matt Murray, Oaksy, Paul Jones was there, just a lot of good keepers all the time, and yeah, at times you're thinking, is that chance ever going to come? But yeah, it did come eventually, but there was always good keepers. Even when I got my chance, I felt there was always good keepers, and throughout my career being here, there was always good keepers here.
I think just on that one, I think when I was at a football club and a striker was brought in, it's competition, you know, but goalkeepers are wired differently. You know, I think a manager has to state before, this is my number one, this is my number two, and I never quite understood how goalkeepers had that relationship, because you've just said all those goalkeepers there, and if you were before them or you were challenging and you were on their tails, that you were always so close. You know, it was. I didn't quite understand that. Like, me and Sylvan went 2 months without speaking to each other, and no one would have known that. You know, we're on the pitch every Saturday ripping it up, on the best form both of us have been on together.
I remember,
and we never spoke. Me and him were in the dressing room. He'd walk in, we wouldn't speak to each other.
I remember that actually. Yeah.
You know, so
probably didn't know that you actually weren't speaking, but I kind of remembered that you didn't have the blossoming relationship that it seemed like you had on the pitch.
And it was, for whatever reason, it wasn't. We clicked out there, but we never clicked in there. So, but for a goalkeeper, you want to play as a professional footballer. You want to play every match. For a manager to say, right, you're my number one, you're my number two.
Yeah.
I think that I can't understand that. But then you have to be ready for that chance.
Yeah, you spend so much time with the keepers. Obviously, we're probably out early anyway, so you probably spend 45 minutes with them before the game, before training has even started, and then it's strange because you are quite close, but you are competing against each other at the same time. So, kind of never had a problem with any of the keepers. Kind of got on well with all of them, to be honest. Probably me and Wayne were like the closest competitions. We were close in age as well. When you're sort of with an older pro, they kind of know that you're like the younger, and they might accept that they're probably coming towards the end of their career or sort of the latter part of their career, so they more want to help you. But when you're with someone you're close to your age, like, there's no helping. You're just competing, and that's not in a bad way, because none of us were experienced enough to say, like, Wayne, I think you should do this. As we got older, like, we'd both say to each other, like, if you see something, just let me know. And we'd say to each other, like, even if it's half time, I'd just have a quiet word in his ear, say, just be careful on this, or he'd say the same to me as well. So kind of our relationship with me and Wayne grew because it was quite competitive. We got on well, don't get me wrong, but it was a bit more of an edge than the rest of the keepers.
And how was that? You know, like, if Wayne said something, that constructive criticism, how do you take that? Because it's like even now, and when you're doing punditry, it's not a personal attack. That's your opinion. Wayne's seen something, but you're thinking.
Yeah, I think because we had a good relationship, it was fine. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be thinking he's trying to get in bed or anything like that. Yeah. It would just be fine, and it'd be vice versa. Because at the end of the day, it's not anyone's fault that he's playing or I'm playing. It's just the managers chose you, and that's what it is. And obviously, you try and work as hard as possible to try and take his place, or to try and take his place, or to be in, to get, for when he say something happened to Wayne, to be ready to go in.
Yeah.
But it's like, you realise it's not personal. It's not nothing personal against Wayne, Matt, Oaksy, anyone. It's just there's one position and someone's got to play.
Do you have to learn to get used to that though? Because I mean, you had it then, and you had it when you were kind of second, third choice goalkeeper. You get to the Premier League, and then big time goalkeepers Marcus Hanneman comes in, and Doris de Vries comes in, and then even when you'd established yourself as number one in that Kenny Jackett area when they got back to the Championship, in comes Thomas Kuszczak and in comes Emi Martinez, and it's always that challenge.
Yeah, I think I found it difficult when we went up, because obviously, like you said, they had to bring someone. Mick would bring someone with experience in, which I understand now, but at the time I didn't. And like Hanneman was obviously a really good keeper, but I just felt at the time I was like just a bit younger, and I could do everything. I felt like I could do everything that he could do, but just because he experience, he obviously would get the nod, and quite rightly, if I was a manager, I probably might do the same that Mick done. But you just in training and you sort of feel like you've got the edge over someone, but then you sort of come to close to the start of the season and get a knock. No, Mick would call you up, and then it'd just be at that conversation, like, you've been brilliant, but I'm going with Marcus or one of the other keepers that they had when we got to the Prem. Yeah.
So you genuinely thought that you were in with a chance for starting that, because you said about your debut that you felt that you probably wasn't ready. So now after that promotion and as excellent as you were you ready for the Premier League?
I wasn't sure at the time, but I think thinking back now, who knows? Like I think
from my opinion, I'm thinking
I felt like I was.
Yeah.
When you're seeing other keepers and sort of very close to Wayne, with Marcus as well, that you sort of think, yeah, I am ready. Yeah, like I'm doing everything that these are doing. Someone might have a stronger point than me, but I might be stronger in another area. So kind of it's probably experience. That's the only thing I didn't have at the time, because I played 10-15 games that season we went up, and then I didn't have an array of games behind me, which I went on loan and got them in the end. But probably Wayne had the full season playing, well, not the full season, but a lot of the season playing, so he had like the momentum going into the next season.
Because we were talking about this the other day, and Looms was saying just kind of how big a part you played.
Yeah,
he played in that promotion season that kind of gets forgotten a little bit.
You know, you said there you've got to be ready when that chance comes. If it's suspension, if it's injury, whatever it is, and you came in and our momentum just carried on. I think.
Is when did you score a hat-trick or did you get sent off at Preston?
Did you both
won it? Sorry to cut you, but yeah, it was that day that you scored a hat-trick and got sent off, and then Wayne got sent off as well, didn't he?
He got sent off.
And then that's how I kind of got in and then stayed in for a little bit. Yeah, so it was difficult. It was difficult having to take a back seat in the Prem, because I felt like I was kind of ready to play, and I reckon me and Wayne was kind of close at the time, but just the way it happens sometimes.
So having gone through that, having almost consistently having to fight for your place, how good was it to have the League One promotion season? Because you'd gone through the down times as far as the club was concerned. That was the rejuvenation of it.
Yeah, it was good to know that I was definite number one. I think even the year before, where I played majority of the season, it was still touch and go when I came in. Actually, I think me and Doris at the time, I think Wayne might have been on loan, I think. And it was good to know that I was playing every week, and obviously we started good. The fans sort of brought into what we were trying to do at the time, which was important, because at the end of the season before, it was an all-time low. I've never seen it as bad here. When we got relegated, it just wasn't a good atmosphere around the place. But everyone was behind us, and it was just good times. Some of the games, obviously, we did win comfortable, but it wasn't always that easy. Every game was quite tough and quite competitive, because everyone wanted to beat Wolves at the time. So it was good for me to get the full season under my belt, and I don't think I had maybe a small niggle towards January, but I didn't miss that many games. So for me, for a fitness point of view, it was come on the back of nearly 2 full seasons, really. So yeah, it was great for me.
And being in that position where you are the number one and you've got number 2 chomping at the bits, were that relationship, would you say that was the same then, you being in pole position?
Yeah, it didn't change. Like, I didn't think nothing of it. Even Aaron McCurry, I think, was number 2 at the time, and he played later on in the season, but he was still learning. So I felt, and he was there when I was a couple of years ago, so I could see his progression. So I was still trying to help him, because he was still younger than me. Do you know what I mean? So I still wanted to help him get better and improve. So I've always had good relationships with the keepers, and if they're younger than me, I even want to try and help them more. I think when you are the older keeper, you should try and do that, because they're the sort of next in line to come through.
Is that an attitude change then? Because we talk about the mental aspect of what you'd had to go through, and you'll have this as well, Looms. When you get to a certain stage of your career, do people start looking at you differently in the dressing room? You're now the senior man. You're now the man who's now got to help the others out.
Yeah, I think you bring a certain amount of experience, but again, if I'm in the team, and there's a striker coming who's direct competition, yeah, you might talk about this, that, but you're not giving him that information that he's going to come and challenge and knock you out. You have to be. I think strikers are again wired a little bit different. You've got to be selfish. You've got to have that instinct that you're just on your own. I was always a team player. That's probably where I failed. But it was, like I say, it's just something that it's always intrigued me about goalkeepers, because you can see the bond that they've got. You see that the way that they train, how they push themselves, the levels that they reach. But then there's genuine that if the keeper, if he was to make a mistake, it's the keeper the second keeper that's protecting them, saying, "Oh, this is the reason why," or it's something I've never noticed before. Whereas as a striker, you don't. If you're on the bench, you want the team to win, but you don't want the striker to get the goal. If he's not done his job, then that's my chance to get back in, chap on the gaffer's door, and say he's not scored.
Yeah, it's funny how you say that, actually, because I'm thinking now of strikers. How many striker friends have you had during your career?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No strikers have friends that are strikers, are they? They don't.
It's one of those things. It's
they get on well enough.
Because they have to get on. But
I'm just thinking of all the strikers. It's not that they didn't like the other person, but they always seem to get on with other people that weren't strikers a lot better. But yeah, going back to the goalkeepers, if they made a mistake, it'd be more like if someone made the mistake here, I'd know what the feeling's like, and you just kind of feel sick for them. I still feel it on TV. If I see a goalkeeper make a mistake, I'm just like, oh no. Or I see something mad happening, I'm just like shutting my eyes, like turning away, because you kind of know the feeling. So you don't really wish it upon another keeper to go through that. You kind of want to win your place by merit more than them having bad form, which is a likely source of you getting in. But you don't want to see a goalkeeper go through that.
We're going to talk a bit more about that on the podcast extras, including how Looms doesn't have any friends, certainly striker friends, in a dressing room. We're also going to talk about your redemption from the tactics board incident on the podcast extra as well. And we'll also have Keems's tales from the training ground and any possible confessions that he has for stuff that's gone on down at Compton. But we want to try and get to know you in a kind of a bit more speedy type of way. This is what we call the rundown. Quick answers if you can. First of all, best player that you played with at Wolves?
Is this quickfire now?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's not that very quick, this isn't it? I'd have to say there's been a few, but probably Helder Costa. I think it's tough because I'm going back to when we went up the first time to the Prem, and some good players you played with then, but I think Helder Costa.
Worst trainer when you were at the club? Be careful.
I'm not looking at you, Looms. I'm not looking at you.
I had my days.
Looms wouldn't be far up from top of the list. Is him or
what's the big striker? Remember we signed him from
Stefan Meyerhofer.
Meyerhofer, yeah.
I've seen Mick McCarthy and TC have a little giggle because he was running. He ran off the pitch, didn't he? He kept on running and going around cones and all that. He wasn't even in the playing area.
Looms Meyerhofer, and Hanneman's an interesting one, actually. I'd be quite quick as possible, so it's quick fire. But yeah, he wouldn't dive till 11. It's like, as soon as 11 o'clock went, he'd start diving. So he's good. He weren't that great between 10:30 and 11, but 11 onwards he was brilliant.
Who was the biggest moaner?
Neil Collins. Nearly.
Oh, really?
Do you not
Carl Henry?
Carl Henry just likes... Carl Henry's like just a bit irritating. He'll just keep, you know what I mean? You don't really... Carl will just keep trying to engage in an argument. You just be like, just do one, Carl. Just shut up.
Exactly.
Neil, obviously loud as well. Neil was annoying for me.
Best and worst dress sense?
Hunty.
For both?
No.
Surely it's got to be worse.
Yeah, worse, yeah. 1-2 was pretty bad. And best, I don't know, I'm not going to say best, but he made a lot of effort, Sacco.
Okay.
Some of his stuff was interesting, to say the least. But he'd spent a lot of time. Getting ready. Georgian Dar, actually, I forgot about that one. He was always immaculately dressed every day. Had a coat hanger, had a hanger in the change room. No one had a hanger. Hung all his clothes, shirt, jeans, fresh shoes. Georgian Dar, yeah, definitely best dressed.
Okay, we've got to try and rattle through some of these. Who was the funniest player that you played with?
Banks, Blake or Stacky. Out of them two, yeah.
Best manager you played under?
I have to say Kenny, I think, yeah.
Who's your best friend in football?
It's Banks, Blake.
What was the best game you played in?
I'm going to say my first one, Bristol City. 2-0. Did you score that actually? I think you did.
Just because it was the first one?
Yeah, just the first. A good atmosphere as well. There was a good buzz around the place.
What was your proudest moment playing for Wolves?
Getting promoted, I think the first time. I think there's a lot of bad stuff around the club before, and I think getting promoted was the start of the club coming back. Yeah, so getting promoted, the League One.
Okay. All right, we'll talk more on the podcast extra. We've just got time for your 60-second quick-fire quiz. We're going to find out how much you know about general knowledge about Wolves and about yourself.
I thought that was the 60 second. It didn't last 60 seconds. But
Okay, so we are going to get 60 seconds on the clock. Let me introduce you to my official timer and assistant, Mr. Chris Iwelumo.
Hi, Chris.
All right, 60 seconds. Are you ready? If you don't know the answer, just say pass.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. How many points did Wolves win last season?
Pass.
Who knocked Rui Patricio's Portugal out of the World Cup?
Pass. I don't know.
Name the Prime Minister of the UK.
Theresa May.
Where does Swansea play?
In Swansea. I don't know the stadium. Liberty Stadium.
Against which team did you make your Wolves league debut?
Luton.
It was Luton. Who replaced Arsene Wenger as manager of Arsenal?
Emery.
Who did Wolves play in the first game back in the Premier League in 2009?
Pass.
How many stars are on the American flag?
52.
How many penalties did you save in your Wolves career?
2.
No, it's 3. Name any of the 3 players that you saved from. 3 seconds.
I don't know.
Oh, come on! That's your time up.
I didn't save many penalties.
That was
I used to get a lot of stick for not saving penalties, actually.
I know, yeah. When I did look this up, it was about 24.
Did you look up the state one as well? 51, isn't it?
It's 50.
It's,
Oh,
but
it's
50. Me and Looms have a big argument about this.
Right, okay.
It's 50.
Is it 50?
We'll check that back
But isn't
up.
that 52 states?
How many points did Wolves win last season was 99. Rui Patricio's Portugal were knocked out of the World Cup by Uruguay. Prime Minister of the UK is Theresa May. Swansea do play at the Liberty Stadium. You got that just in time. You did make your Wolves League debut against Luton in August 2006. Unai Emery replaced Arsene Wenger. It was West Ham was the first game back in the Premier League, lost 2-0. 50 stars on the American flag, and you saved 3 penalties in your Wolves career. They were from Tommy Smith, playing for Watford, Freddie Sears of Colchester, and Owen Garvin of Bolton.
Scored 4.
4. Do you think that's a good total?
No. It's bad, isn't it? My head just went blank.
Well, I think it's easily beatable, but you're first up on the leaderboard anyway.
This isn't fair, is it, that I'm the first, really? 'Cause I could have actually watched before and kind of got a gist of what was going on. This has just kind of been thrown on me, and
Well, unlucky.
it's not fair.
That's what you're going with, being a stick to
Just
it.
unlucky, yeah, cheers.
Carl, thank you very much indeed. This is the end of our Facebook portion of the Old Gold Club, but there's going to be plenty more to be discussed on our full podcast, which you'll be able to download very shortly indeed. Thank you very much for joining us. As I say, we will get into much more, including Carl Ikeme's tales from the training round to come on our podcast extra. This has been The Old Gold Club.
The Old Gold Club, powered by Wolverhampton Building Supplies, with Mikey Burrows and Chris Iwelumo.